4 books. And so I'll go over each one of them and my favorite parts. We're just going to start with the shortest, simplest read. This book is called Outcomes Over Output: Why Customer Behavior is the Key Metric for Business Success. The book is by Jeff and Josh, and they talk about the principles for the next century of work. And essentially, since we have DevOps and the shift for continuous business value, how should we measure success? And the primary findings of this book state and share the principles for focusing on outcomes over outputs. Outputs can stress us out. It doesn't necessarily equate to the amount of business value that we have. For example, lines of code, or successes don't really measure, these outputs don't really measure the amount of effort that it took, or manpower that it took to get there. And so I really like this book. It's a short book, teaching people how to measure outcomes and really focus on business need. So, how to create team goals, outcomes, MVPs for outcomes, how to measure them for individual contributors, how to measure them for managers and executives. There's even this kind of structure model that teaches you how to map outputs to outcomes and impact, and eventually impact. So if you're really trying to make an impact, figuring out, kind of reverse engineering it so that your individual contributors can really do certain activities that maps to outputs and eventually outcomes and impacts. I like it. Next book is an academic one. I found this at my university when I was back in university, so I've had this for a while. It just shares how to manage innovation in your business. So, whether you're a consulting firm or you're a product company, B2B, B2C, whatever it is, here's some tips for software innovation in the space. Essentially, they just talk about different challenges that certain businesses have depending on the service that they provide, and then how to overcome that. So, pretty cool. The art of openness, the art of innovation incubation, the art of focusing. And they review different companies and case studies. They do the case studies. Another book that's really good that reviews different organizations in the industry. It's a newer book, but a lot of practitioners have it. It's called Accelerate: Building and Scaling High-Performing Technology Organizations. It's by Nicole and Jez Humble and Jean Kim. It's really cool. It's a really good book. Bunch of companies get surveyed. And they ask 4 key metrics for measuring DevOps success. And you get to learn about high-performing teams, low-performing teams, and medium. And it's pretty cool. I enjoyed this book. The text is really big, and that's why this book looks really big. But I think if you were to read the PDF, it's about 100 pages, less than 200. Not too bad. read the majority of this book in a day. It's a good book. Another one is this DevOps and Book. It's really great. How to create world-class agility, reliability, and security in technology organizations. It's similar. It's the same authors. Gene Kim, Jez Humble, Patrick, John Willis. These authors also wrote The Phoenix Project, and I think a portion of them also wrote The Unicorn Project too. So if you liked any of those books, this is essentially a handbook, and it's divided up into 3 pieces, 3 parts. The first one sets the tone and what you need to know about what are called the 3 ways of DevOps. The second part goes into where to start on your DevOps journey. And a couple more pieces. And then they go over the three ways. And the 3 ways, it's pretty interesting. The first way is technical practices for flow. So enabling business flow. Lots of graphs and studies that are compiled in here. Lots of findings. And then technical practices of feedback. So it starts to get more technical as you go towards the back of this book. And, even at the end, they'll share technical practices of continual learning and experimentation. So they'll actually talk about some more mature practices for DevOps. So, AWS case studies. But then they talk about redefining failure, injecting production failures, so like chaos testing. Doing game days. More case studies. And they provide additional material. It's a big body of work. This one is a little bit of a denser read. Lots of concepts, lots of new practices that you can encourage and introduce into your team. It's a great book. I have 2 copies of it. Actually, a little bit different color. I'm not sure why. Oh, I found my credit card. Interesting bookmark. Yeah. Shorter video today. I decided to go over some of my favorite DevOps books out in the field. I recommend the PDFs. They're a little bit more searchable, easier to read. No title on here, but yeah. Hope everyone has a good time learning and just getting involved in DevOps if you are in the tech space. If you're not, I hope you enjoyed